Brad, in CHC from here on out, just the thoughts on getting back and starting the Penrose chase here.
Yeah, no, now we're focused and dialed in. We're moved past the non-conference, and we had a good meeting on yesterday morning, Tuesday, what our remaining schedule looks like, knowing that the ultimate focus is this weekend with Omaha. But it's a race, it's a chase for try to get the Penrose Trophy. But and again, we talk about the process because there's 16 games, right? And again, you got to take care of business on each and every weekend, and they're hard weekends. And it's kind of split up in the fact that we play 4 series, we have a bye week, and then we play 4 more. So there's going to be a push, and we know it's going to be extremely hard. And I think we played against a very good Alaska team that gave us a tough weekend here to try to get 2 games. So again, hopefully we'll play that way again this weekend.
Does it feel like there's a lot of familiarity with Omaha, being you guys played them, 5 times in a row they in last year?
Yeah, a ton of familiarity. I think it goes both ways, right? I know they got an experienced team coming back, in all positions. They play a hard style game. They've got to have skill in their lineup, and they've been usually 1 or 2 goal games each and every one of them. So we know that going in, and it's a situation where our depth of our team and our our lines and our deep pairs have to play a consistently north type of game and play fast and have a situation where we hopefully try to dictate play here a little bit.
You guys are getting used to the situation of a guy playing his old team. Ludvig's done it, and Garrett Pike's done it, and now it's Cam Berg. How do you approach that this weekend with him now?
Well, I think just, that is the storyline in all 3 of those situations. But I think it's a situation where you're playing an opponent, and it's got to be like a faceless opponent, meaning that it's just it's another really good team coming in. It's a situation where you got to play a consistent brand of hockey, what you bring to the table in your role, and not get caught up in it. And I think a lot of times we have those conversations early in the week about not trying to do too much. It's your former team, and not trying to be the guy that has to do everything for everybody. It's doing your job, and I think all 3 of those guys that you mentioned have done a great job all year, and now it's Cam's turn to play against his former team like that.
What does he bring to the table in his role?
Yeah, just I think just he brings a lot of things. He as a center iceman, you want a guy that's strong in the dot, which he is. He's very good on faceoffs. He provides offense, plays with good pace, and has great hands, strong hands around the net, has a great release. But a guy that plays a good baseline game away from the puck and tracking back and being good defensively, and I think he just brings a good all-around 2-way game. But he can score and he can make plays, and just having a guy that like again a centerman that can be as strong in all 3 zones.
I think we all know it's not fun to be sick. How in coming back from being sick, how has Ludvig handled that, and what's his process been like coming back from?
Yeah, and again, I think it's he's a guy that knows his body, meaning that he spends a lot of time at the rink preparing and stretching and strengthening and pre and post practices and games. So he knows his body extremely well, and we gave him some time here this week to get his feet on the ground, to get his strength back and everything. He practiced today. He looks really good. He was in all the reps. It was one of those things today we were gonna see if I'll get in the net, get a few reps, get out, whatever. He was in there the whole time. So I guess the next phase is coming in tomorrow on a Thursday practice, seeing where he's at. But just talking with our staff here, he looked sharp. He looked like he hasn't missed a beat, and it's great to have him back here.
With Reese finding his spark offensively, what can that do heading into a crucial part of the season now?
Yeah, I think it it helps not only him for his confidence and swagger and future games coming up, but it helps everybody else too. He's our team captain. We talk about Cam Berg, what he does for us. Well, equally as much, Reese Gaber does that as well, on and off the ice. And just a little thing today. We're practicing. We had a longer practice today, and who's the last guy on the ice? Him and a couple other guys is Reese Gaber. I think that shows you his passion, and he loves the game, and he's our captain. Probably plays a ton of minutes, more than a lot of other guys, but he's still on the ice honing his craft and wanting to maximize his development, and I think that's awesome. And we went over Tuesday meeting too about the last 3 months in the push, what that looks like, and I firmly believe some of the seniors or the grads that are in our group know that, hey, let's maximize what we can do here. We got an amazing team here that when we're playing together and playing hard and playing fast, we can do some special things. And I think he feels that he wants to make the most of the next 3 months here.
No, we chatted about line changes, but the fact that you wanted to keep pairs together kind of in the mix of all these changes last week, not just the top line, but as a whole, seeing that positive effect so early on, did that impress you?
Yeah, for sure. You always want to have some familiarity when you do switching some lines and having some tandems together and pairs, and I think it's been good. When you look at McLaughlin and Blake playing with James, I mean, that seems to be a pretty good fit. And then obviously you had Berg with Johannes and putting Gaber there. So I think it's something that you don't kind of throw the bingo balls in and hope that something happens. You have a body of work of a couple of guys that have some chemistry together, so it seems like it's a little bit more seamless when you put another guy there. And I think it's helped. It's provided some freshness, and the guys are excited to play with some new guys.
Power play has definitely figured it out the last 6-7 games or so. What credit can you give to KG and those guys for able to find a component that works?
Well, they've done a good job, and I think just taking a breath. And I think tendency is when things don't go kind of what they did like last year. I know last year we were running at a pretty high percentage rate, but it's a different year. We have some different personnel, and growth is always different. We got out of the chute last year and kept going. We scored some goals, and then we went down a little bit, and now we're back up a little bit. I think you got to have that resiliency, that even keel approach, and not succumb to pressure of squeezing your stick and just taking a breath. The other part of it is being more direct. Playing fast, playing north. Getting shots to the net early on power plays. And then being relentless on the retrievals and getting it back. And you can see it. It's building and growing. And I think one of the things is just like in our 5-on-5 game here, too. We score a couple goals. Let's get the third one smartly. But if they score one, hey, it's no big deal. Like, we'll get it back. Let's not have panic in our game and have some calmness and resiliency here.
Big weekend for the PK too. Omaha's power play isn't what it has been in recent years.
Yeah, but again, if that happens, then what happens. You work on it. You try to simplify your game, and that you're going to get their best coming in here too. So we do look at kind of conversion rates and success rates of that. But at the end of the day, I think I know they have the personnel to be really good, and we have to be just as sharp on the penalty kill.
This is more so out of my curiosity. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of new faces for this year. You said everybody's starting to get more comfortable with each other. But as a coach, how have you noticed that chemistry continue to build away from the rink or even in the locker room?
Yeah, no, it's pretty neat. I'm a coach, and I have meetings, and we have drills on the ice, and we have bench management and games, and I'm around our guys quite a bit. But Grand Forks is a small community, and what I see is these guys hang around a lot with each other, whether it's in a restaurant after, or you're walking through Shields or a store in town, and you got the guys congregating, not in groups of 2 or 3, but 9 or 10 together. And I mean, that tells me a lot. That tells me that these guys love to be around each other, and you can see it on the ice. You can see that they enjoy being with each other and playing hard for each other. And when you get into games that are on the line and guys are selling out to block shots, or guys doing the little things to try to win a game for your teammates sitting next to you, that's a big deal, and you can kind of see it growing here.
So y'all finished with your best non-conference record since 2019-20, of course, capping it off with that massive Alaska series, the 12 total goals in 2 days. I mean, what was it like to get that much of a big punch to end the non-conference on that kind of note?
Well, it was huge. Words can't describe. When coaches talk and give pre-scout about teams and how they play, words can't really describe the team that we were dealing with. And I think a lot of things go into it. It was kind of the first 2-game set after Christmas break. It's a team that's in an independent schedule. I was proud of the way our guys reacted. There were times in the game when they had us on the ropes a little bit, but our guys did a really good job of breaking through and playing the game that we needed to play to get those 2 games. We always stress non-conference is so important to build your body work for the pairwise, and I'm proud of our guys because we had a gauntlet of teams that are really, really good early in the year, and we did a good job. And so now it's putting that behind us and working on the other part, just like Brad talked about, the NCHC here. And again, we're hungry. We want to get after the next part while putting the non-conference in the rearview mirror.
So then to bleed into that, sort of how is that done effectively as you go into another home series, you get that back at home against solid Omaha teams, or how does that carry through to that series?
Well, short-term focus, right? I mentioned about our 16 games coming up and what that looks like over the course of the next 3 months here. It all goes into the short-term focus. Those 16 games don't mean a thing unless you take care of this weekend. and our guys have done a good job of keeping the things in front of them on a short-term basis, and then even magnifying that into practice. Like, it just doesn't come to the weekend. You have to have good, sharp practices, and I thought we had really good practices this week to keep going. And then finally is the leadership. In order to get all that going, the short-term focus and the day-to-day, the leadership has to help drive this. And again, we always talk about the second half of the season, the leaders in the locker room have to take over the locker room, and they've done a good job so far, and they're going to keep pushing.
Taylor touched on a few things: penalty kills, figuring it out, power play, success in the dot, line changes were working for you guys. At what point in the season as a coach do you kind of maybe take a step back and just let things kind of settle into himself?
I don't think as coaches we ever do that, to let things go back. I think, when you're doing things well, you got to keep accentuating on what those things are. And even the little things that we're not doing well, like line changes, guys coming off the bench, not, diving into piles. We want to try to iron that out as collectively as a group that's doing the right thing all the time. And I think as coaches, we don't try to overcoach, but we try to keep guys held accountable here on how we have to play a team game and everybody doing it. So, yeah, I think it's a work in progress on pushing the right buttons and the players doing the right things, and they've done a good job of doing that.